Hi, I'm David Peacock, Senior Advisor to the Future Tourism Group at SimpleView. In this session, you'll hear from innovative and brave leaders from around the world who've been pushing the envelope of what it is we do as destination organizations. These international leaders share their insights and ideas on how we can create a more resilient, regenerative, and sustainable tourism industry. The pandemic has changed so much of what we do as destinations and destination organizations, but the truth is, innovation and adaptation in terms of community alignment, stakeholder engagement, distributed marketing, equity, diversity, and inclusion, and sustainable and regenerative tourism have been going on in pockets around the world for a decade. As the American writer and essayist William Gibson said, the future is here, it's just not very evenly distributed. Michael Nagy is the Director of Marketing and Sales for the magnificent Fairmont RJ Copacabana in Rio de Janeiro. Unofficially, I think his title should be Rio's Ambassador Extraordinaire. The innovations, partnerships, and full-scale realignments that the Accor Fairmont Rio has been able to achieve over the last year are remarkable. Listen to the podcast for a deeper dive into some of them, but if I had to pick one key message from the wealth of wisdom that Michael has to share, it would be this: stop owning your own content, stop making it difficult for people to get access to your information.
So our team came up with something which I think, if anything, and my suggestion to everybody is do it. Stop owning your own content. Stop making it difficult for people to get access to your information. So what we did was we took every single piece of writing, picture, video, photo, logo, story, anything I had in marketing. We put together the Fairmont Tools sales kit, and I'll send you a copy afterwards. Basically, I gave full access to every single travel agent, incentive house, TMC operator, that he could take my logo, my photos, put his logo on, and do whatever he wanted with it.
Michael,
Why?
that's okay. I'm going exactly the same place as you. Why? Because to me, that's the future of tourism, a distributed network of information that's validated in other places. But please tell me the why.
The why is simple. At that time, everybody was looking for one client. I have a joke at the time, and it's actually pertinent to today, that we were basically at the moment where I am today, which Monday to Thursday, a pregnant woman is a group. If she brings her husband, it's a convention. And if the mother-in-law comes, I'm repeating the bloody Olympics. From Thursday to Sunday, I'm okay. So, but why? The big why was they were fighting to find clients. I had no clients. Now, if I give him the power and I divide the action with him, that the moment he has a client, he can take my picture, put his logo on it, he can do whatever he wants, and he's not brand controlled. I'm giving him the power to sell anything.
If you want to talk about sustainable tourism, you have to talk about Ljubljana, Slovenia, winner of the EU's 2018 Capital of Smart Tourism Award. If you want to talk about Ljubljana, well, then you need to talk to my friend Petra Stusek. Petra is the managing director at Visit Ljubljana and president of the board at the European Cities Marketing Association, one of the most progressive tourism marketing and management associations in the world, in my opinion. Petra puts it in the simplest terms: many DMOs have already moved on to a new model. When we look from North America to the adjustments we're going to make to come out of COVID to build stronger tourism destinations to create greater alignment, we often can look to ECM and the work you've done on over tourism and sustainability as a harbinger of some of the things we're going to need to do coming out of COVID-19. Let's talk for a minute about ECM and your tenure there. You've done a great job. You're a fantastic representative, ambassador, president. What's the focus at ECM right now? I know it, you know it, but let's share it with our listeners.
Yes, the folk ECM is like you pointed out, and thank you for noticing that on your own. It's an association of great, which has in common great members. Our motto is that we want to share, to meet when it's possible, either virtually or preferably in person. So meet to share and to grow. And the focus is on sharing. So we are sharing good practices. We are sharing the solutions that have been implemented at some place but hasn't at some other place. So it's again, good thing is that even though we're talking about the very different nations from south of Europe to north of Europe, east, west, really cultural differences come in place. But what we do have in common is everyone has done something really tremendous, and we tend to share that. But what we do have all in common is we are aware of the fact that we'll have to, even before the crisis, we knew that we need to focus on developing the systems or the working practices sustainability wise. I mean, in a lot of places worldwide, this was more of a buzzword because the destinations didn't implement it yet. Here it came to practice in, let's say, majority destinations or a lot of destinations already years ago, and we are now just working further on it, because the fact is, if we need to build tourism in a sustainable way, so we can keep enjoying in general our planet. Everyone needs to have a right to travel. That is absolute right of everyone in the planet, but we need to do it in a smart way, not excessive traveling, not too many. The practices need to be built on the local heritage, the zero waste programs, the sustainable practices that we actually really advanced here in Europe, because we live by not only in the last year or two, but in a decade.
In November 2020, I hosted a roundtable at the City Nation Place annual global conference. The theme was connecting stakeholders with sustainable recovery through stronger digital competencies. Around the table were destinations all over the world: Finland, Israel, Kenya, USA, Canada, UK, Holland, Slovenia. Castro Ambio from Nairobi, Kenya, was on that panel that day. He's the founder and CEO of Place Brand Africa, a marketer by profession and an alumni of Delft University. He is optimistic and forward-thinking, but he reminds us that tourism that leaves little or no money on the table for locals is just not sustainable. He sees the pandemic as an opportunity for thoughtful change.
Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarices, our data banks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoking skies behind us, or we can walk through lightly with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it. So Place Brand Africa is ready to imagine another tourism world. And we are going to have a network of people that are ready to fight with us to change the tourism in Africa.
So here's the question. As we deal with becoming an equitable, diverse, and inclusive world on so many fronts, what is authentic destination marketing and what is authentic LGBTQ destination development? Greg DeShields is the Executive Director at PHL Diversity with the Philadelphia Visitor and Convention Bureau and the Executive Director of Tourism Diversity Matters. Greg reminds us LGBTQ is not a marketing segment, it's about people, just like you and me, people with families, people with friends, people with interests and ideas.
I think, though, it's always, important to realize that when you say LGBTQ, that's not just one group, that's lesbian and that's gay. And so as you work your way through it, it's also understanding the nuances of what LGBTQ means. And then layering on top of that there are some generational issues in terms of how a boomer LGBT person travels versus a millennial versus a Gen Z. So I would say that, as they've said, it's not a monolith. These are all very different people with all different, travel expectations and travel desires.
I've said it before and I will say it again. Elke Dens is a marketer's marketer. She's the marketing director at Visit Flanders and a member of the board at ECM. She's a friend, a peer, and someone whose insights and thoughtfulness I regard very highly. Elke believes not only that authentic stories are powerful and essential tools for destination marketers, but also that it is the responsibility of tourism to tell the stories of the culture and history of the destination.
What makes it exceptional, that is often, David, the story behind it. So, and that makes, I think, the DNA, if you think about what is culture, what is tradition, it's actually all those stories that are, given from one generation to another generation. And this is, I think, the obligation of tourism is to make sure that these traditions and stories are being told also to future generations. So it's something that we need to safeguard. And so maybe we don't even need the word DNA. Maybe we need to really dig into the culture and tradition of a place to understand. And then you will see, because when you talk about shared values, you will see that then people immediately respond to it because they feel the connection. They feel, oh yes, this is us. In the end, it's all about people that connect to a certain story, and you will find people everywhere in the world that have a curiosity for this story or a genuine interest in this story and also want to share it.
Distributed content, sustainable strategies, inclusive and equitable plans, and a focus on authenticity. That's what these leaders are working on for the future of tourism. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Peacock, the Senior Advisor to the Future Tourism Group at Simple View. Thanks for listening.